Greeting interwebs, it's Jackie K, and welcome for another edition of the Pokemon Go Fireside Chat. Let's call it a casual Fireside Chat. Not sure how much I'm going to get around to editing this one because I'm recording this on a Friday because I haven't really had an opportunity to record, or more specifically, whenever I did have time to record, I wasn't feeling up to talking much. It's been a couple weeks. Though the Pokemon Direct did just come out earlier today as I'm recording this, so I figure why not take a little time to talk about that. It's not quite Pokemon Go, but I think enough happened in it to actually warrant a little conversation over. I guess first and foremost, going into it, my expectations were kind of low. Pokemon hasn't really excited me lately, at least the main series games. I haven't really got too much excitement out of general Pokemon in a while. And I kind of feel like an outcast because of that. Simply because so many in the Pokemon Go community, at least the bubbles I'm in, were all psyched up for this, the 25th anniversary in general, that concert thing that I paid no mind to. And here I'm just I'm vibing. And I'm gonna be blunt, it's not helped by the community as a whole. There's been so much dismay in the Pokemon community. Some of it's justified, some of them probably amplified by the state of the world currently. Some of it even then feels a bit exaggerated. It's kind of hard to enjoy something with the community when the community's bringing things so much far down. And it's kind of just here's the thing. I get the legitimate frustration. with the frustration. But, especially tonight, I feel like you see more people complaining about the complainers than I've seen the complainers. If so, them actually, getting high up in money in it. And because, it's hard for me to hesitate because I can see some of the things that, people might not have liked about it. I'm not going to dwell on that too much more. I just bring all that up and don't just keep it to myself. To bring up a point. It's okay to like things, it's okay not to like things. It's okay to have opinions, but just please be respectful of each other. That's all I really ask at the end of the day. And also bring up that point to emphasize the fact of how I don't really want to hang out with the Pokemon community. Even the general Pokemon Go community I kind of stay away from for similar reasons and just try to stick to my social bubbles or circles within those Pokemon Go communities. It's just better that way. This is all brought up to say, my expectations were low going into the Pokemon Direct. There isn't too much in Pokemon in general game-wise that excites me. So going in, the only thing I could think of that could actually get me hyped was a new Shadow Pokemon game, kind of like Coliseum or XD. But my expectations were kind of already set that wasn't going to happen. So I was just going to try to go into it and watch it and appreciate it for the show that it ultimately is. It was right in the middle of work, so I wasn't even initially planning on doing anything with it, but enough people were live streaming it, doing their reactions, that I kind of just snuck away to go to the bathroom just to set up a Twitch stream to listen to and just watch the presentation for their Twitch stream. That way I could just continue working on my work while I'm not missing out on the Direct and all that. I might as well tangent away because, let's be real, if I just talk solely about the Pokemon Direct, this is going to be a very short podcast. So maybe it's just me, but it feels like being a Pokemon Coliseum /XD fan is the equivalent of being an F-Zero fan in the Nintendo community. You just get so few little stumps and you're giving up all hope of actually getting a new game that you're just enjoying the experience and just appreciating every little thing you do get, like Shadow Pokemon and Pokemon Go. Or that time that the Blue Falcon was in Mario Kart. That said, it seemed like I had my expectations in just the right area, because I was pleasantly surprised with the Pokemon Direct. It did kind of feel like it dragged on a little bit, just because it was, like I was saying, but not prepared for, a celebration of Pokemon, more than just, Pokemon news. Because it feels like the first 10 minutes of the 20-minute Direct, or presentation, was just a montage of just all the past and current Pokemon games and all the celebrations of everything that's happened up to this point in the series. Once they actually got to the meat of the show, though, there was a little bit of news or new footage slash show footage. I'm blanking out the actual word I want to say, but Pokemon New Snap. We got to see some new things about the new Snap, and it was all pretty cool. Something that sticks out in my mind is like the fact that they had like Instagram filter or stickers. I mean, not directly post to Instagram, but I think there's also a picture photo network too. So I kind of just like, in my head, I've heard some things that some people in the community were afraid of. Well, or should I say deny what they were afraid of. And it looks like this is going to be a lot more robust than the original Pokemon Snap was. There's a lot of nostalgia for Pokemon Snap, but if we were to look at, there's not a lot of creativity in the photo taking, because it's like based around like a science documentary. Meanwhile, like all these extra features related to sharing photos seems to show that like they're emphasizing that feature, which is good. I mean, with the internet era we have these days, you'd be missing out on a perfect opportunity if you didn't like make the most out of the fact that you can share pictures so easily on the internet. So overall, Pokemon New Snap was really cool. It's never really on my mind to pick it up, because like I don't exactly have the same nostalgia. I have the game and I appreciate it. I just don't know if it'll come at a time frame where I'm willing to put $60 down for a game. But it's definitely like something I would play if I were to ever pick up. And I got no negative qualms towards it whatsoever. I'm honestly just happy that it exists. Then they threw some just general news and things going on in the Pokemon, unlike the Pokemon spin-off / mobile games. There's like just going on currently. Nothing new was announced. Like they were talking about the Kanto tour or the post party for the Kanto tour, even though like it's already been a thing for a while. I get it. This is aimed more towards the general Pokemon fan base, so like pointing out the fact that like everyone's fan favorite Kanto legendary Pokemon, especially Mewtwo, are in race. That's a good PR stunt. Like just getting that out there for like general players who don't usually play Pokemon Go but really, really like Mewtwo, or like, oh, Mewtwo's back. I gotta pick up on it. Like maybe if you're like just a casual player, just play the game just enough to know how infrequent but good Mewtwo is, that would like get you back to play the game for like the 2 days that event was left for. Like, you know, it'd be a really cool PR stunt, Pokemon Company, if you like timed the Kanto tour right around this time. Like, you imagine how many more people you could get back into Pokemon Go if you had an event like that going on and talked about in your presentation. I'm just I'm just pointing things out. Just getting a little excited just about the concept of how they could market it better. Not that I actually care. But I think I'm just still holding out the link for the podcast. We should get into the meat and potatoes. Like, first, like, it's unrelated to anything, but I was like watching like an Alpharetta Deluxe reaction video to it too, and just, I think this is the first time I actually seen him actually react or say anything about Pokemon Go since that weird video that they did, like the not Pokemon Go video that was, I think, made right when the game first came out in 2016, like in that same year, not necessarily the same day. Just a little tangent that just, because there's nothing else to talk about, I might as well just, when else am I going to talk about some of my YouTube interests outside of the Pokemon Go community? Yeah, just like, yeah, I hate it, but I love the content they had. They're just like, yo, a Kanto theme celebration. That's a first. Thank God Pokemon's giving an homage to Kanto. Finally. They need it. I may or may not have rewatched the video just so I could quote that word for word, because it's like, I hate because it's like, of course, the one time Pokemon Company gives attention to Go is when they're doing the least original thing possible. But it's just, the sarcasm is just so perfect and spot on. Like, I get it. It's one of those, like, it's funny because you hate it because it's true, but it's funny because it's true sort of things. Okay, enough fangasming over other people's content. I think I rambled enough that we can actually get into the meat and potatoes of this Direct. To be fair, like, I'm getting around to it about the same time the Direct did. And that is the next big news when it comes to new installments in the Pokemon series. I guess I can stall a little bit longer by telling a story. Going into this, part of the reason why my expectations were so low was big thing everyone wanted from this Direct was Sinnoh remakes. But that's probably the thing that they could do to get me the least hype, minus like no big Pokemon news at all. Sinnoh never really like struck my nostalgia the way that it has a lot of other people in the Pokemon community. It's a generation that I appreciate for the mechanics that they introduced into later installments of the games, like the physical special split. There's definitely some other things that I'm just not thinking of at the moment. I appreciate how much lore that they put into the Pokemon world in the Sinnoh games, but it's never like I never would want to go out of my way to play a Sinnoh game, even back when I actually felt up to replaying Pokemon games. I don't know what it is with me anymore, but that's a whole other story. That's actually too irrelevant to bring up here. Despite that, I managed to find something I'm looking forward to out of this Direct. And I managed to have passionate opinions about the two games that were introduced. I guess first of all, the Pokemon Diamond and Pearl remakes, the actual remakes. It's a Diamond Pearl remake, I guess. Hey everyone, if you don't mind, I think I want to do a retake on just talking about the whole Sinnoh remake. Cause I kind of just feel like I had some criticism, or just things I didn't like about it, but I was so worried about it coming out as just like unconstructive criticism or just hate in general that it just felt like I was talking all over the place. Kind of what I'm doing now. So I feel like if I just like get straight to the point, or get straight to my points, it'll just come out better for everyone. So I guess it's also important to like lead into this going like, I was going into the Direct with the mindset of, I don't really care if they announce or give details of a Sinnoh remake, because it's not exactly one of the regions I'm looking forward to revisiting anyways. So Element, like, it does make it easier to just like brush off any aspects of the reveal of the games that I may not have liked or didn't exactly give me a good first impression. That said, like, I don't even like hate it. Just like the typical art style that games like this and Link's Awakening, they always just leave me with a weird first impression because it just never feels like a progress in animation or graphical power at first, but depending on the thing, I can eventually warm up to it. Like, it kind of happened with Link's Awakening, just like once I've just gone more of the vibe of, oh, it's a dream game anyways. And for a positive example of that particular art style, I loved the way they handled it in the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon game, or specifically the remake. Like, I don't know, it just already gave off a cartoony storybook-like feel, and it just feels like that in the remakes they just embraced that. And I think the other thing about those art styles is it's a kind of style where if you actually like take the time to look at it, or the more you stare at like a screenshot, for example, the more details you can see. Like in like the main character's room, you can actually see like light coming out from the window, and there's like little details like that that kind of just get overlooked in like as you're just going through like a minute of footage real quickly. But when you like take the time to sit and watch it grows on you. That's it. I just like, the only reason why I even care about the art style for a game that I didn't really have any interest in getting at first was that I was just afraid that the game wouldn't do justice for the fans. Like, I may not have cared about Sinnoh, but people have been waiting for Sinnoh for a long time. It definitely feels like this has been the longest time frame between remakes of older generations. Maybe just like feels that way because like the Sinnoh fans were so passionate that it just kind of like made the time drag out more. I guess what I'm overall trying to say is this sort of art style really depends a lot on the type of game that you're remaking. And I'm just not sure if the Sinnoh region is a game that this is a good direction from. And mind you, like, this is all just a way too much time spent on overall sprites. Because I'm actually real happy with how things look when you actually go into battles and that. I'm just worried about how, like, this art style will handle climatic moments. An example of, like, up on top of the Spirit Pillar. I guess once I actually see footage of that particular area and see how the art style handles this sort of thing, my opinion could change drastically on it. It's easy to forget just how little of the gameplay we've actually seen. Just because it's a remake, so we kind of already assume how the game's gonna play out. Cause it's a remake of a game that we played before. But in all reality, we haven't really seen much of the game. Majority of the footage was just of parts of the game where NPCs are talking to each other, and maybe like a couple seconds running down a rail station. So, I guess I reserve judgment. But that's how opinions work in general, just they change over time as we learn more, and our perspective of the world changes as well. Just don't expect me to talk too much about this on social, unless it actually gets brought up in conversation. And, I don't know, I'm not sure what it would take to actually get me to buy the game, but art style is not going to make or break it, I can at least assure you of that much. If I had all the money and time in the world, I probably would buy it just cause, like, why not? But for right now, there's just other games that I want to play anyways, regardless of art style. So I already had in my mind, well before the game was announced, that I'd probably save my money from the next Pokemon game for some of the other games I've been meaning to pick up. Still waiting on my, like, pre-order of the physical release of Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, for example, and I've been meaning to pick up Bug Fables. I got a gift card for Christmas, but I keep procrastinating actually, like, buying that off the eShop. And there's, like, so many other fantastic games in the world, many that just go unappreciated. What's the harm of missing one Pokemon game? I almost skipped out on Sword and Shield after all. Only picked it up because the Isle of Armor seemed a lot of fun to do the max raid adventures with people. And honestly, that's the part of Sword and Shield I've played the most. Haven't even got around to finishing the main game yet. But it was worth it for me. Like, sure, I pretty much bought a $60 game for a $30 DLC. But at least, like, I got the best deal. Like, they have this package where, like, if you just buy the game and the DLC all at once digitally, it's pretty much the cost of just one of the DLCs instead of two. So, I mean, like, it at least gives me the option to explore it after all. And I kind of, like, look into Dynamax Adventures, just, like, a raid pass costs the Pokecoin equivalent of $1 off the eShop. So, my spirit isn't quite awake enough to do the math. But I'm kind of just looking at, like, if I'm doing it with friends anyways, it's kind of just the equivalent of doing a raid in Pokemon Go. Technically, like, doing 5 raids in Pokemon Go. So I feel like that alone, like, I'm close, if not already got my money's worth out of everything I bought from Sword and Shield, just from Dynamax Adventure in of itself. But that's just a personal take. I think as we see more of the game, it'll be easier to warm up to. I guess it's the overall point I'm getting at. Now, I'm rambling way too much about the part that I'm lukewarm to when I could be focusing on the part that I'm excited about. Like, if there was anything that I said that you didn't like if there any negative opinions I had on this Direct, you can just pour it in a bucket and dump it off the wayside, because it doesn't matter in comparison to Pokemon Legends Arceus. I am hyped for this. Just from what I've seen, it's given me the perfect blend of what I like about Pokemon, but actually bringing new things about it. I haven't had a feeling similar to this since when I first got into Pokemon Go. Even more so, I think, like, more accurately to say, I haven't had a feeling of excitement for a game like this, or a good feeling of just feeling fresh, since Pokemon Coliseum. I'm not even one of those people that are like, we gotta have Pokemon be an MMO. I could care less about the MMO element of it, but, like, it seems like they take the open world elements that they explored with the wild area, and that's the game. And you still got Pokemon battling, and catching is Like, not seems to just be you catch the Pokemon, and it doesn't seem RNG based like in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee or Pokemon Go. You just go around catching the Pokemon and battling with them, and I think it's a real cool addition to like spice up the starters, having them like not all be from one region, just have like a one starter from each region for the type. Like you got Cyndaquil, Oshawott, and what was even the third, the grass one? Oh, Rowlet. Like, I have a soft spot for Cyndaquil. That alone's got me excited. But the concept is just like, it's a Sinnoh game, but you don't have Sinnoh starters. And there's an actually legit cool lore explanation for it too. You're building the first ever Sinnoh Pokedex. So it makes sense that like you get your starter Pokemon from a professor traveling around different regions of the world. And you have to go catch the Sinnoh Pokemon yourself. That alone is really cool, and something that I've wanted the Pokemon Company to do with Pokemon games for a long time. And on top of that, you got like a Breath of the Wild feel. I'll be honest, I never actually played Breath of the Wild, but I can get behind just the feel that this game's going for. And it just seems like it's going to be focusing a lot on the backstory of Sinnoh. Stuff that like you don't really see explored in Pokemon games anymore, because like if you do get a bit of lore in a main series Pokemon game, it's just to like build up the hype for a legendary Pokemon. If that Pokemon has just so much depth that you don't actually get to see these days because of just the way modern Pokemon games are formatted. And I feel like the impression I'm getting of this game is perfect for just expanding that. And I'm actually just like I see some people complaining about like it doesn't look good. I'm just like, are you crazy? This looks fantastic. I mean, let me like double check like some stills of the footage while I got it up here, but as far as I can tell, it looks gorgeous. Maybe like parts of it, like the trees are on the same level as Sword and Shield, and that was a big controversy. I don't know. Like, part of it looks, I can see why it looks like that, but all of it kind of just looks like it's intentionally going for like a Japanese watercolor sort of feel. Maybe I'm just looking too into it, but it looks fine to me. The Pokemon models, the trainer are fantastic, like their designs are good, and just the shots of them look great, and just all the Pokemon around. You got catching Shinx in the gameplay, and that's a solid sell in of itself. I mean, but seriously, like, this is the type of stuff been wanting Pokemon to do for a long time, and I will have to see as the games get closer to release and we learn more about them, because I guess the way they marketed Sword and Shield is kind of similar, where they like emphasize a lot on the wild areas, but when you actually play the games, it kind of just feels like it's in the background and and instead the focus is on the more generic stuff about Pokemon. I'm looking forward to this though, and if it just turns out to be a bait and switch at the end of the day, then I guess I just don't pick it up then. But from what I've seen and how it looks so far, this is what I've been wanting Pokemon to do. Explore, have a base of what Pokemon is, catching and battling, and experiment around with everything else. And that's just dumbing it down a bit, because you could argue that like Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee did that, but I feel like this is going to do it in a way that I enjoy. That's just the vibe I get off this game, and I refuse to let anyone take that away from me. The only people that could take that away from me are Game Freak themselves, which, I'll be honest, when I looked at the fine print and saw that Game Freaks were the people making this game, I'm like, really? But these are the same people who've made every Pokemon game since I was introduced to Pokemon and video games as a whole. So it's not like they can't do any right. Just that, like, I kind of would prefer someone else making Pokemon just because of the track record lately. But I do feel confident Game Freak can make a good Pokemon game if given enough time and not rushed by the Pokemon Company. So as it stands, that's what I'm hoping for. And I think as long as they got the concept down the way I'm thinking of, it doesn't matter if it's like the actual gameplay isn't as in-depth or engaging. I think I'm sold on concept alone and presentation. Just between like the amount of Pokemon versus the amount of new things in this game. and the fact that we're actually focusing on the history of Pokemon, which is actually like something that I've never really talked about, but it's been in the back of my mind of just wanting to explore more of the backstory. I'm trying to think of another word besides lore. Origins. Just the elements of the Pokemon world that we don't normally get to see, because we're always focused on the child protagonist that eventually becomes the Pokemon champion, and maybe stops an evil organization or two along the way. I don't even blame Game Freak for doing this, considering like the mixed reception that Pokemon spin-off games have had in the past. There definitely does seem to be a good chunk of the Pokemon community that does just wanna go through gym battles, get their badges, maybe fight an evil team along the way, and become champion. But that's all the more reason I appreciate even the concept of them exploring other elements of the world of Pokemon outside of this perspective. Oh yeah, that's another thing. Like an underappreciated part about this trailer, I think, I don't see anyone else talking about this, but the UI for Pokemon battling, at least from what I've seen in this game, is just perfect. Like, it's simple, yet clean, yet refreshing. Just, I don't know what it is about the fact that it just kind of looks like they did a paintbrush stroke above the HP bar, but I think it's just fantastic, and just, as simple as it is, brings so much to the mood that this type of game is trying to set. And then just Chef Kiss to just something as simple as the way that, like, the moves are displayed on screen. It's just like it has just the perfect amount of spacing, the shape of the type icons. It's weird things to get pinpoint focused on, but it just for some reason just stands out from being a normal Pokemon game. I can't even like put my finger on why. Just that 1 millisecond, just seeing the Pokemon on. I guess I overlooked the fact that just like it's probably not seamless, like there probably are screens, but the battle screens seem to have enough detail to actually look like it is just seamlessly like jumping from the overworld to the battle, even if it doesn't. And if this is just beta or alpha footage, and they're gonna improve stuff with this game even more by the time it's released, I can't wait to actually see what the final game looks like. Because it's already got me impressed. Like, I could definitely see room for improvement if I squint hard enough, but just the overall feel of the game just screams perfection to me. Hopefully I'm not like a Chuck Conroy with Sticker Star where it's just like sees very tiny footage of the game, thinks that it's a love child between Okami and Thousand Year Door, and then it just turns out to be the vein of his existence for who knows how long. He said he wasn't gonna make the Sticker Star rant / jokes out, so I feel kind of bad bringing that up. Point being, like, I fully acknowledge that later on down the road I could be wrong, but dang it, just let me enjoy this moment of possibly getting the Pokemon game I've wanted. I've been close enough to the Pokemon game I wanted. I'll admit, like, I do still want to see Shadow Pokemon games in the future. But the whole point that I'm getting excited for this, because this gives me a similar feel of refreshment looking at this game as I did, like, looking into Pokemon Coliseum when it first came out. Because keep in mind, like, this was right when Ruby and Sapphire came out, and just, like, the gameplay elements of that were kind of similar to Gold and Silver. Let's be honest, all main series Pokemon games that don't include spin-offs kind of have a similar feel in battle mechanics. Like, the gameplay is very similar between each generation main game. It doesn't deviate a little bit, so as someone who got into Pokemon since the very beginning, you can imagine just how something different like the Shadow Pokemon formula was enough to just make me such a huge fan and consider it such an important part of history with being a Pokemon player. It's just like, I kind of wonder if I would have dwindled off Pokemon sooner if I didn't have the Shadow Pokemon games in between to give me some sort of refreshment. I guess I'm kind of hoping that this game gives a similar feel to that. It's giving that impression so far. So dang it, just let me live the moment, and I'm sure when the reviews come out, if it doesn't live up to the hype, I'll know before I buy it. I'm a big boy who can make his own decisions. Oh, I completely forgot to mention that. The style of the main characters is great too. Jokes aside about how they look exactly like the Diamond and Pearl, they have the same faces as the Diamond and Pearl characters from like who knows how far in the future, when these games were supposed to be in like the very dawn of Sinnoh's entire existence. But I like the designs beyond that, and like the fact that it's Dawn's face works is what makes this style work, I think. It just works. It just works as Sinnoh trainers in a feudal Japanese equivalent of medieval style. And I think that's like probably like rambled went on several points over and over again, but I had to make sure I talked about this longer than I did about the actual Diamond and Pearl remakes, considering just how much more hype I am for this. And I feel like there's something I wanted to actually close this on, but I can't remember it now. Overall, consider me keeping my eye on this game very closely. I think that's a good way to leave it off on in of itself. Thank you for turning into what I could have sworn I wouldn't have been able to ramble on more about than 20 minutes. I actually managed to make about a 40-minute podcast episode. I actually gonna have to do the editing of this one. Sorry if like the editing isn't as smooth as some other editorials, because I'm probably gonna rush my way through it just so I can make sure I still can get this up on Sunday, so y'all still get a podcast episode. Thanks again for tuning in for this edition of the Pokemon Go Fireside Chat. Slightly less Go edition. I mean, hey, if you guys enjoy this, let me know. Probably be a lot easier to make filler editorials if I expand my scope beyond Pokemon Go. But like I said, I don't get caught, or my attention, I don't know if I can always talk as passionately about other parts about the Pokemon series as I can Go, which is kind of why it's the Pokemon Go Fireside Chat. Not because I'm choosing to focus on Pokemon Go, just because I know, like, out of all elements of Pokemon Go is the one I can talk most passionately about. But if you guys like to see stuff beyond Pokemon Go, I'm willing to, like, squeeze it in every now and then when I come up with a topic that does get me going as passionate as this ended up doing. And again, sorry if I'm just talking all around in circles for all of it. I went into this with the mindset of just, it's gonna be casual. It's gonna be short if I like prepared notes or try to keep on topic points anyways, so that just gave me more reason and freedom to tangent off. Hopefully it's all good nevertheless though. Take care.